Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of council of October 1st. It is exactly 7 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Council, any concerns about the agenda or conflicts? Not, I'll entertain a motion of adoption. Thank you, Councillor Shepherd. Councillor Rose, second. All in favor of adoption? Carried. I should note Councillor Toth sends his regrets, and we have, of course, Councillor Bell online. Council, without further ado, we'll go to the proclamation, and it is my honor to proclaim the month of October as Foster Family Month in the District of Sechelt. I won't read the entire proclamation, which is available in our agenda package, but this is a very important recognition, I think, for those who need the services of the foster family group. Council, I guess then we'll invite Cassandra Fletcher to come on up and tell us what's going on in the One Straw Society, please. Good evening. Yes, perfect.
Hi.
Pull it towards you.
Yes. Hello.
Great.
Can you hear me? Thank you for having me. My name is Cassandra Fletcher. I'm the Executive Director of One Straw Society. We're a food security organization on the Sunshine Coast. But more than food security, we work on a larger scale in terms of sustainable food systems. Across the country of Canada, there are organizations all over in communities across BC and Canada that focus on food systems development. Food systems being everything from agriculture and production, foraging, Indigenous and traditional education around food and land systems, getting food into the bellies of people that are vulnerable and need access. It has to do with distribution and marketing, transportation, and everything in between. And of course, food waste and food rescue initiatives. Of course, a big piece of that is around policy. And so I wanted to chat with you guys today. We've had lots and lots of public inquiries about different uses of agricultural land on the Sunshine Coast and beyond. And there are communities all over BC that are facing similar questions. And a lot of pressure on agricultural land. So we wanted to provide a little bit of insight as we approach the OCP process. Well, I suppose we're in the midst of it. And want to consider food systems as a piece that should be introduced into our OCPs and what that might look like. We have a group of professionals from our sector across the Sunshine Coast, in addition to having experts from UBC and SFU who head up the land and food systems and the food systems lab at UBC, who are all really keen to have a voice in this. So I'd really like to encourage that as a piece of this, and also wanted to provide a little bit of clarity about our stance on agricultural land, and in particular agritourism, because in our current economy, tourism is a massive, massive push on agricultural land, and it's being pushed all across the province, and it's on top of industrialization and urbanization, pushing of new developments into land that's arable land that could grow our food. Of course, tourism is a significant pressure as well. So I'm going to try and share my screen here. Oh, look at that. Oh, that works. Hello, Donna, on the screen up there. Okay, so, I mean, you know a lot of this. I think that you guys are probably well-versed in a lot of this, but I did want to go over that because there has been some confusion among our membership and the broader community about the terms agritourism and how that's applied to agricultural land. Following this, what I want to land with is the offer to bring a representative from the Agricultural Land Commission to the Sunshine Coast to provide a training opportunity to work with DOS, Town of Gibsons, and the SCRD to provide like that real opportunity for some professional education around this and a Q&A opportunity to help us better understand, because the regulations certainly leave room for interpretation in some stances. So we thought that would certainly be the best avenue to take to ensure that clarity. Okay, so tourist accommodations is a term used in the ALR, and agritourism is a term used in the ALR. They're not interchangeable. Tourist accommodations are permitted according to the ALR in the primary residence only, and you can use up to 4 bedrooms. If you have a giant house on the ALR, you could run a little Airbnb with multiple suites in there. Agritourism is specifically tourism that has to do with agriculture. Examples are cart sleighs, tractor rides, cattle drives, pumpkin patches, all that kind of thing. We do see a lot of that on the Sunshine Coast, which is amazing. And local governments don't have the right to further regulate that. That's a right of agricultural land holders in the ALR. Agritourism is not anything to do with events that happen on that agricultural land that are not agriculturally based. So if someone has a workshop on sheep shearing, for example, and it made sense that it was a weekend event and you needed to have accommodations for the sheep shearing workshop, you would have the ability to provide agritourism accommodations directly connected to that. Agritourism is not holding weddings on agricultural land and having tourism suites or whatever units available for non-agricultural events. So that includes all this kind of stuff: retreats, yoga, wellness, corporate, business, fitness and health, spiritual events, glamping, saunas, massages, and anything else. Music festivals is a big one happening on agricultural land, of course, film and cultural events, and weddings. So those are not agritourism. And of course, that matters when it comes down to requests for using agricultural land in a unique way, where special accommodations or requests are being made to have more agritourism units than our current policy might preclude. Yeah, so this is essentially the gist of this. I wanted to approach and get a sense of what the process might be to involve a team of professionals who might like to have input into the OCP in terms of land and or in terms of food systems, in addition to whether you might be interested in me bringing out someone from the Agricultural Land Commission, hosted by One Straw Society, to provide an opportunity to educate. We'd be happy to make you a lovely lunch and make a whole deal of it. And I think that would be really valuable for all of us. We have a very, very limited amount of agricultural land on the Sunshine Coast. The food that grows on the Sunshine Coast is incredible. It's incredibly high quality. We just need more of it. And a big reason to ensure that we're supporting agricultural land in its intended use is because our food security is genuinely at risk. And I could go on a whole tangent around the risk of food systems and our food security in this province and in this country. But we're talking a small local scale here. So that's it. That's really all I wanted to say. And I hope that you guys can get back to me. Someone can get back about the offer around OCP stuff and the offer to have the ALC come down for some education.
Great, thank you. So questions from council, maybe I'll start. How soon would you propose to do something like that? If we were...
I mean, it's completely in your court, right? I realize that to bring someone from the ALC, we would need some leeway. And I also want to ensure that that time is really well spent and that we're not focusing on just, DOS, for example, that we're also offering that opportunity to the directors of the SCRD and Town of Gibsons and Shishel Nation even.
Okay, so you're...
So I think it would be up to you in terms of when that looks like. My guess is we're talking 3 months out, probably.
Okay.
It might be nice to look at January, hopefully.
Sunny January.
Sunny January.
Yeah.
It's a great time to get together at Seaside Center or something.
Very good, yes. Councillor Shepherd, please.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, Cassandra. I know at council we've had one very contentious application for a use within the ALR, and I found it incredibly difficult sort of sifting through the regulations.
For sure.
We sure didn't hear anything from the ALC, although I think we've got staff who are well versed on their regulations. But I, for one, would really welcome having meeting someone from the ALC to talk more about what their policies are. As I understand it, the province have really sort of devolved responsibility down to
Mhm.
municipalities for how they handle it, regulation, which is kind of dangerous.
For sure it is.
But so I'd welcome that, but I'd also, through the chair, wonder if our Director of Planning could talk about the official community plan being updated and how the agricultural policies are being dealt with. Thanks.
Not to put you on the spot, Director Allen, but there's the spot.
Thank you. Although it wasn't the direct question, be happy to accept the offer to work with One Straw on the OCP review, and we have your email address. So that's a yes, that's a definite. What we typically do for the zoning bylaw and OCPs that I've done in the past, we have contacts at the Ministry of Agriculture that sets policy, and we send referrals to staff at the Agricultural Land Commission. They don't have a specific person at either place, but we do, in the past, have met with them. We do email them. We check policy. I think that we have strengthened our support for agricultural land in OCPs across the Sunshine Coast by removing the provisions that support exclusion, just having a singular land use designation for agriculture that supports agriculture, bringing in the ag zone into the zoning bylaw and so forth. So staff are certainly committed to supporting ALR where we can. The regulations do change. There's been a lot of change in regulation respecting second dwellings over the years, back and forth, and we do our best to keep up. ALC sometimes offers workshops, and sometimes they have come up here, but we do our best to keep up, but it is challenging with the various regulations and permitted uses that they do have. Thank you.
Great, thanks. So offer accepted. Okay, anything else? Councillor Bell, thank you. I did see your hand. Go ahead, please. You're muted.
Unmute. Thank you, through the chair. First of all, I just want to give a huge thank you to One Straw for your incredible hard work and commitment. You really are instrumental in making it possible to bring healthy local food and make it accessible to so many on the community. So I want to really thank you for that. Fundamentally, I think that our traditional farming methods, although we don't have a lot of them, I believe they are so important to the future. And they play such a crucial role in the future of our sustainability and are enhancing our food security and certainly addressing climate change. So I'm in full support of bringing some education in, because I think that's the most important piece of this is not knowing, not having all the information to make some of these decisions. And I know that there's benefits and there's pitfalls of agritourism, but I would like to see the balance, and so that our farmers can have the benefits as well as have the desire to do traditional farming, and with both of them having economic benefits. So all for it. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Councillor Bell. Okay, Councillor Inkster.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for coming and speaking with us. We've had a number of people over the many years that I've been in office that have talked about local food security, including some warnings and concerns that if we did not have ferry access, which we very nearly not had lately, and or barge access of food being shipped up here, that we have 3 to 7 days of food on the Sunshine Coast, right? I don't know if we could say that in January, that we even have that, with the food not being able to last that long that we're growing, other than the greenhouses that are available, and there's not many of them. So I certainly support the work that your group is doing. I'd love to meet with you before the time you've mentioned to start talking about these things. Certainly supportive of that. And I'm very well aware of your organization being somebody that talked to Robin, if you've been around that long, many years ago. Did you know Robin? You did? You didn't? Okay. Just a big sort of a giant in One Straw, and basically one of the first organizers. So I certainly have an ear for your organizations, and I look forward to further discussions.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Great, thank you for joining us. Council, with that, we will move to item 5.1, which is the proposed renewal of the Rockwood lease for a mighty sum of $10 a year. Any council, do you want to move the motion, Mr. Counselor Inkster? Okay, so is that a motion to move 1 and 2 on page 5? Second, yeah, please, Counselor Inkster.
Yeah, I don't know much about that lease, and I know we all know a number of people that are involved in that organization. I don't know how much they use the office, there during a week's time. And, you know, we're $10, is that what you said? It's not a lot, of course. We're supportive of local organizations. But I recall what the SDBA asked us a number of months ago, sorry, and that we had no comment for them. And, I'd like to see us figure out how to support organizations that do good social things, but also organizations that do good economic development things. So I really would hope that when we approve this, that we either have an additional motion or consider supporting organizations that come forward to us and look for office space like that. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, other questions on the motion? Okay, yeah, please.
You know, I think restorative justice is one of those quiet, organizations in our community that just go along and do work across a bunch of sectors, be it through the RCMP or the school district or right here in council chambers in years past. So they're critically important to the work that goes on out on the coast. I believe the SDBA was targeting a different, you know, there is other space up there. So I think that's a separate discussion to this. And yeah, I'm fully in support of renewing this lease for restorative justice.
Very good. Thank you. Counselor Bell, I see your hand. Please.
Just one additional comment to Councillor Rowe's support. Remember that restorative justice also supports the coast, right from Port Mellon right to Egmont. So they do an incredible work for the entire Sunshine Coast.
Very good. Okay. If there's nothing else, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Okay, council, then we go to item 5.2, which is the ratification of the BCGEU collective bargaining agreement. And I just say for my comments about this are that this is a big agreement, and I'm very, very proud, and I wanted to take the point to express certainly my appreciation. I'm sure council joins me in appreciating everything that the people that work with the district do for us. So this is about process and just approving an agreement officially. So council, you have it before you, and I'd certainly make the motion that is on page 13. Second, or second, thank you. Yep. Okay. All right, anything? Not? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. So then we go to item 6.1, and I'm guessing that Mr. Douglas, are you taking this?
I believe Bev is online.
Oh, yes, of course. Sorry, we have Ms. Smith online. There she is. Great.
Thank you. Is that 6.1 or 6.2?
It is 6.1, please. So the bylaw, the multiple updates to the bylaw. 5:15:16. Oh, look who else has arrived.
Sorry, the Bev's is the next item.
Okay, so 6.1, I
6.2.
believe, is now Ms. Paulson, who has arrived on camera. So council, we have a motion recommendation from staff moved and seconded. Ms. Paulson, anything you want to add or enhance? No?
Nope, I think the staff report includes all the relevant information, but we are always available for questions.
Very good. Okay, in that case, any questions? And there being none, I think it's fair to say this is house cleaning type of things, Ms. Paulson? Yeah.
Yes, that's correct.
Very good. All right, I think we're all in favor of house cleaning, so I'll call a question. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Now we go to 6.2 and watch Ms. Smith appear. Magic. Oh, I guess I need to do the reading, do I? For the last one. Hmm?
The motion to adopt is sufficient in this case. There's no need to repeat the same motion, but thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Okay, so we'll go to 6.2 and now this is again over to you, Ms. Smith. Or
Thank
perhaps
you.
we'll get the motion on the floor. That suits. Moved, seconded. Over to you, Ms. Smith.
Thank you. I don't have anything else to add from last meeting on September 17th, but staff is seeking to get final adoption of the 2026-2027 permissive property tax exemption bylaw, and I am here for any questions.
Very good. Are there any questions? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried and unanimous. Thank you. And following Ms. Paulson's advice, we will move on to item 7.1, which is the minutes of the meeting of September 10th, council. And moved, oops.
Sorry, were you approving the motion in the report or were you giving the bylaw final adoption?
Well, I was interpreting.
Because we do both.
I agree. And then earlier for the previous one, Ms. Paulson said they said we could do them, we're doing them together.
Okay.
So, but Ms. Paulson has magically appeared again, so we'll reconfirm. Should we do the adoption reading, Ms. Paulson, for 6.2, property tax exemption?
Apologies for the confusion. My understanding was that the motion that was passed was that the bylaw be adopted, which is sufficient to complete the adoption. If that wasn't the case and council was simply moving to consider, then we do need another motion to adopt.
Right. So 6.1, they both were 6.1 and 6.2. I think to be procedurally careful, let's, council, if you will, let's do a formal motion to adopt each of the two bylaws separately. But so Councillor Shepherd, I'll entertain that as a motion to adopt bylaw 515-16. That's the first, that's the one on page 77.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor of adoption of bylaw number 515-16, 2025? Opposed? Okay, carried. So then we will go to 6.2 on page 87, which is before us, bylaw number 628, 2025 for adoption. Thank you. Second. All in favor? Adopted. Okay. So then the minutes of the meeting on page 95, the minutes of the meeting of September 10th. Moved, Councillor Shepherd, thank you. A seconder? Don't all jump at once. Second, thank you. Councillor Rowe. Any concerns? All in favor? Carried. And then Councillor Rowe, you were chair of the committee of the whole meeting of September 10th. Any concerns? You'll move adoption? Second, thank you. All in favor? Carried. All right. Without further ado, we can go to the SCRD representative. his report. Microphone.
After the last meeting, we had a board meeting before we went to UBCM, and we were basically presented with the Shishel BC Land Use Questionnaire that came to the board as part of the overall discussion the government's having with us about First Nations land use and as we go forward. And then we all know that there's the meeting tomorrow with all the governments on the waste discussion. So looking forward to that. And I'm assuming everyone in this room is going to that tomorrow, or?
No. I have a conflict.
We have a time conflict? There's a time, okay.
Yep.
Counselor O, you too? Oh. Okay, well, hopefully we know the wishes of council. And that there's those that aren't here tonight there. Yeah.
Okay, for the moment, maybe we could talk after the meeting, but anything else?
No,
Going
that's
on?
it. On
Okay.
there'll be more in a couple of weeks, but there wasn't much to say after last council
Right.
meeting, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the public, of course, you'll hear, I'm sure, well, you'll hear next about what we've all been up to last week. So
Yeah.
how about we start with Counselor Rowe and then Counselor Bell and Counselor Shepherd and Counselor Inkster. Counselor Rowe.
Yeah, so it was our annual trek to UBCM last week, which was in Victoria, and the weather gods were kind to us. A beautiful week. We did, I think, about 8 minister or ministry staff meetings, which are always interesting. I mean, I think there's certainly a sense from everybody there that things are really tight and a lot of communities are struggling in a lot of areas. Did some interesting sessions, one on mental health for elected officials actually was one of the most interesting and well put together sessions I've seen in 7 years at UBCM. Another one that I went to that was really interesting was the disorganized downtowns, they called it, and they looked at a lot of the challenges that communities are having from all sorts of different angles. And they had the chief, or I guess not the chief, but they had psychiatrist for the provincial government that spoke to the toxic drug situation and how it's evolved over the years and why it's evolved over the years, and talking about mandatory treatment and all that whole pocket of things, which was really well attended and well, there's lots of engagement. Yeah, there was, I'm sure people will have other things to say, but I feel like we had some fruitful discussions and made some good connections with other communities. And then, of course, yesterday was Truth and Reconciliation Day, and we did the walk and the ceremony. And that's always moving, and just reminded of how many elders have been lost this past year. So it's always a bit of a tough day, but also one with hope. That's it.
Very good. Thank you. Counselor Bell.
I'll just add to the Truth and Reconciliation Day yesterday. Again, a tremendous heartfelt day. I think that the Sechelt should be, the Sunshine Coast should be very proud of the participation and the number of people that come out. It's anticipated close to 600 people. I don't know the final numbers, but I think that each year the event continues to grow, and as people find their way to what reconciliation is. So it was a beautiful day. Thank you.
Very good. Anything you wanted to add about UBCM or? No? Okay, very good. Counselor Shepherd.
Yeah, UBCM, I won't talk about the whole program. It was great to get front of some ministers to try and push some projects along. What struck me, or what I found to be the most interesting seminar, was on the introduction of artificial intelligence into municipal operations, and just how fast it's moving, both in Vancouver and in Kelowna. So I think there's something, I know that our own staff are continuing to bring more and more operations online in terms of permitting, and I know already at our level, it's saving, it's decreasing our ability to bring people online, to hire people. So it certainly is having an effect already. So that was very interesting. National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. I walked with everyone. Great to see the numbers out there. We had a conversation today, the mayor and Councillor Bell and myself, with BC Housing to talk about the shelter and the operations there, what we could do to improve safety for the residents and for the residents outside. So I think there's a lot to sort of digest from that, and that effort will keep moving ahead. The last thing I wanted to talk about was childcare. I think the whole community's aware that we are losing, the YMCA is stopping some programs as of October 1st. And I've been working, as the mayor has, with the parents group, had some very fruitful meetings with YMCA to see where, and I think they have put sort of roughly half the children who are losing spaces into other programs. But the one sort of, the reason I'm raising it is that I would really like our SCRD representatives to bring forth a motion to offer incentives to existing ECE teachers, free recreational passes. Now, I know that Councillor Toth has already been talking to the CAO at the SCRD about it. A lot of reservation, because we have so many groups who would like that, but I would press our representatives at the SCRD to bring forward that motion. I think there's a dire need here, and it should be going forward to be discussed by the whole board. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. I think that, yeah, it was good.
How was
Busy.
UBCM for you there?
Yeah, thanks. It was busy. I think just to not, I think Councillor Shepherd alluded to that last week to me, so maybe he'll send me that motion. Okay, because then we can just take it to that table to discuss. I mean, why not? It's a democracy. We need to discuss things. So UBCM was very busy. It always is. It was a longer way away than what we're used to. Although we probably would have had to have gone around if we went to Vancouver as well, because the ferries did not work again. That was really great. One day we'll see 2 ferries. And we need to keep talking about that because it was incredibly frustrating to all of us. I think yourself went around, yeah, and I went around. Some flew, but the float planes were full, so we couldn't pivot to that. So we pivoted going through Paul River, and it took us a long time to get there. And we missed. The ironic part about a number of us going around was we missed the BC Ferries meeting at UBCM, and I'm not sure if you made it. Mate, you were good. Yeah. Yeah. So we missed a really good meeting put on by Bowen Island to talk about BC Ferries. And I would like to have a discussion with council about talking to BC Ferries about coming up here to do a presentation. We just have to make sure it's done right, and it sounds like they will come. So we got to figure out what we want to ask them though when they come, and make sure that it's done right. Because if we don't do it right and the community comes out for the wrong reasons, then we, other than to communicate with them, they may say they won't come again like they did with the FAC. So I have an idea about that, but maybe other council members have already been down that road. Sorry for talking about BC Ferries, but we have to, We have to continue to talk about them and the frustrations with not having having a 40-year-old boat and not having two boats for our communities, our larger communities' use. Looking forward one day to two boats in every hour. Nevertheless, the UBCM was busy. As has been mentioned before, we had a number of cabinet meetings which are important to me, especially if we have an ask. I just want to recognize Councillor Shepherd for stepping up to present in a lot of those meetings on behalf of council with a number of our issues. Always talk about housing when we're there. We talked about 911 and emerge management more this time. One of the things with emerge management was I think that council saw that there was a lot of discussion in the plenaries about emerge management. That was a lot of the motions put forward by communities to look to the province for either more funding or more work to deal with emergency management, but also how to be better organized in terms of some of the climate change issues we're dealing with. Whether it's too hot or there's too much rain coming down at certain parts of the winter. Although I was told, I think council's aware, there's a new 911 system coming in the next number of months. So hopefully that fixes the address problem that we're dealing with. I think we had what was it? Was it six minister meetings? Was it six exactly? The good meetings. It was good to talk to other elected leaders about our concerns and just so people know, because it's still unclear when people in our community get frustrated when we talk to other communities and talk about what's going on in their communities. A lot of communities in BC, most communities in BC are dealing with homelessness, toxic drug issues, and some of the issues that are coming with some of those, intertwine those issues, which is the concern over lawlessness and theft. So this is throughout BC. It's not a Sechelt problem as some frustrated locals think, but that doesn't mean that this council's not aware of it, frustrated by it, and trying our best to work with the province and others to solve the issues that that we're dealing with. But we did talk about those issues at UBCM as well. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Well, I guess our last meeting that I was in Sechelt was September 3rd. It's been a very, very busy September. I think council knows I spent a week in Ottawa, a week in Victoria. We had the 10th annual Sechelt Electric Vehicle Festival on Saturday in the rain. It rains once every 10 years for that festival. Fingers crossed. And in the midst of it, I was able to celebrate a big birthday for a family member. Talk about Ottawa briefly. We went with, I was accompanied by 5 local employers who we all paid our own way to go to Ottawa to talk about the importance of temporary foreign workers in Sechelt and on the Sunshine Coast. And there's more information coming out from that group in the days and weeks to come. It's significant that the shortages of staff are so significant that 2 of the employers had to close their businesses for a couple of days of the 5 days that we were in Ottawa because they didn't have enough staff. And so wherever you go these days, you're seeing we're hiring situation. So it's a serious issue, and for us to lose people through the process with the immigration that's proposed by the immigration department is actually very, very dire. I want to thank our MP Patrick Weiler, who really stepped up and arranged meetings. We met a parliamentary secretary and several senior staff on these issues. And I guess I'd also, and I don't like to take too much time, but this affects every sector of our economy. Whether it's healthcare, we heard about the early childhood educators, that not only do we not have enough, but we actually need more than we had before we lost some. opticians, bank tellers, security operators, meaning IT security, and as well as all the others that we know about. So it was a very good session. I think we had very responsive meetings, and I'm assured that we'll have some developments from Ottawa in the next, hopefully in the next month or so. I also took the chance to meet with some senior officials from the Justice Ministry just to impress on them, again, the problems that we're all facing with crime and safety. Then ran home. Then, as Councillor Inkster pointed out, I took the long way to Victoria. I did manage to get the ferry up to Powell River on a relatively new vessel, and then an even newer vessel from Powell River over to Comox, and drove the 225 kilometers down a very nice highway. It'd be nice if we had something like that. We had a number of meetings on the sidelines. I always find UBCM more valuable for who we meet in the routine and the back and forth. And so a number of meetings with mayors and other officials, again, on topics, common themes were safety, and a number of the rural communities are sharing the concerns that we had, that we have about the temporary foreign workers. My detour to get to Victoria triggered a number of inquiries from the media. I know Mayor White was also called, but doing stand-up interviews on your cell phone at 10 after 7 in the morning can be a challenge for those of us who don't tend to start that early. I'm wearing this shirt today because I was invited to speak along with 5 other mayors. We had about 50, I believe 50 mayors and MLAs and other electeds on the steps of the legislature, talking about the importance of addressing the challenges of crime in our communities. And it was fascinating to see how we're all dealing with the same stories. Obviously, Prince George has a bigger number of people, but it's the same burden. So I was very, very pleased and honored to be invited to speak and to make some comments about how, as a smaller community, we're in the same boat as some of the larger ones. So it was really nice to hear on Friday when Premier Eby announced that there will be 100 involuntary care beds being placed in Prince George and in Surrey. And I guess I'd offer hopefully that we're on the list for the next ones that come along. Number of other sessions, but I think in the interest of time, I flagged one. There was an all-day session on Monday, which focused on resources and the importance of resources in our provincial economy. And it was led by Mayor Kermit Dahl from Campbell River and a number of the major resource sector organizations. And I wanted to congratulate UBCM President Trish Mandeo, who has finished several years as president, and spent a bit of time with Trish, and then also with Corey Ramsey, who spoke on the steps of the ledge with me, and she's the incoming UBCM president from Prince George. So that is all the stuff we were doing for the last 3 weeks or so, but I think we've referenced there's some sad news. One is, of course, Jamie Dixon, who certainly became a friend of mine over the last several years. He was a real character. Was always interested in chatting, sometimes a little longer than was available. Loved the Village Restaurant. You could always tell he was there with his scooter parked in front. And he was very pleased, and I was it was fun. He co-led the parade last year and this year. And the first year he made it about 100 meters before the kids all wanted all his goodies. And so I never saw him until the end of the parade. And this year he hardly made it around the corner. So very sad. I know we're all feeling for his family, and I already miss him. And the other one, I don't know if people are aware, but unfortunately Ray Stockwell passed away yesterday. And I'll have more to say in the coming days, but it's just, Ray was a legend on the coast. and a giant in all things that he did. And a man, he was always interested in everyone else. So I think you'll join me in expressing our condolences to Shannon and his family. A real giant and a legend in Sechelt. So not to end on a downer, but that's the way life is, I guess. Council, I think that brings us to the end of the items on the agenda. I don't see anything else, no. In which case I'll entertain a motion to adjourn and seconded, all in favor. Yes, in just a sec, yep. So now we go to the question period. So